Life giver and the keeper of life, King Selassie, Jah Rastafari. Blessed love to each and everyone. Give thanks for your presence. The Honorable Priest Isaac here with you as we are glorifying the moment, 40 days and 40 nights in the wild. Give thanks continually for the moment that is referred to as the Lenten time. Yes, we are beginning on this day, of course, this being Wednesday, the 26th day of February. For those who may not know, we are already in that moment. This is the time prescribed by the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards for the fasting and praying period. And of course, for those who are subscribers to the Shock of the Hour radio program, of course, this is something that we will be delving in periodically through the time frame going all the way up, if I'm not mistaken, until April the 12th or somewhere thereabout, where you will have the resurrection period, the Good Friday period of resurrection. And of course, as customary, we always do one or two YouTube programs directly dealing with the Lenten time. And this is just the first of many, but this is a very, very, very short episode. It is just something I want to highlight. And of course, again, just welcoming all those who are of the order of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of True Divine Salvation, all of those who are of the order of the Black Christ, the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, and even for those young ones, and young may not necessarily just mean in age, but young in the faith as such, who are holding on to the order. Yes, this is a moment where we do keep the 40 days and 40 nights fast. And of course, since obviously I and I personally, the Honorable Priest Kidem Shalom Isaac, to some degree is in the eye of the public, of course, I have to make sure my information is clear and at the same time very square, because we don't want no complication or no misunderstanding as it relates to such a culture. Well, let me just say again, this is prescribed by the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Is the moment of what they refer to as Lent. We just use the term, but it's not really such. And of course, many may argue of the whole, the root of the Lent period. Of course, it's something that directly deals with the cycle of the moon as well. But of course, we have mentioned before and other documentaries right here on the YouTube that you could check for yourself. We speak of how nature reacts to this time of the year. And for those of us who live amongst the sea, close to the sea, the beach, especially in the Caribbean, you will know for sure how the beach or the sea reacts during this time. Even coming up to the so-called Good Friday time, you could actually smell the sea cleaning itself. And this is a yearly thing. And even as Bobo Shanti, we actually do not go to the beach during this time of the year. There's a lot of mystic, you know, that beach thing, the fish thing, and the Good Friday going to the beach and the Easter Sunday vibration, even the bunny rabbits and their eggs. There's some science behind all of that as it relates to even fertility. But as I said, we will go more into these things as the whole 40 days and 40 nights. And let me be clear, you know, it's ain't 40 days and 40 nights of not eating or drinking no food. So please, nobody gonna try nothing straight or out of the way. Please contact someone that you know is of the order to understand exactly what the fasting period is about. It's like a daily fasting. So you must eat every day according to this fasting period, but it's a daily period of fasting where a small moment of eating will come in for those who do what would be replicating the cup fast, but it's not really a cup fast unless it's done, pardon me, it's not really a cup fast unless it's done, of course, in the tabernacle and you break it with the cup and the fullness thereof. But the fast itself of the cup fast is something where the individual would fast until 12 midday. And then, of course, breaking that fast from 12 midday to 2 o'clock. This is how it's done in the campus of the ancient time. And then from 2 o'clock, they begin the fast again until 12 midday the next day. You know, that's really the main fast, you know. But as the man say, if you can't take a big bite, take a small bite, and no one is ever restricted to such a rigorous fast if they are not in the case to do that. Some people do baby fast where they just fast until 12 and the story done until the next morning, you understand. So as I said, we will go more into these things, more into detail, even sooner than later, especially for those who will be tuned into the Shock of the Hour. Remember, it's very easy to be a part of this Shock of the Hour subscription team. All you have to do is contact us via email. That is priestisaac27@gmail.com. That is priestisaac27@gmail.com. And of course, we will definitely, give you all the information on how you could become a monthly subscriber, how you could become a 6-month subscriber, or even a yearly subscriber. Okay. Now let me just show you something here. Now, even when it comes to the whole aspect of the Bobo Shanti, and the whole resurrection theology, there is this concept that the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards in Jamaica, and of course we've reasoned about this, the resurrection and the crucifixion. These are videos you should watch again for those who are really interested. Let me just say this, for those who are really interested in this time, because we don't have to do anything over. For those who are really, no jokey business, and you just want to be entertained, if you're serious about this order and you would really like to know with understanding what the Lenten period is about and even how you carry it out, you could just go on my YouTube page. And there are, I think, 3 Lent videos that was done previous years. Lent 1, 2, and 3, if I'm not mistaken. And also there's specific programs, like there's one entitled The Crucifixion and Resurrection of King Emmanuel. And I think, where's Prince Emmanuel now? That will also fit in. Those 5 programs, if you're really seeking for information as it relates to that, will assist you tremendously. And I would say as well that within those programs, we kind of run down the story in different ways depending on the program. Even the interview we did with the Honorable Priest Zebulon, and in the Bobo Shanti theology, the whole allegory, I'm going to be very clear with that, the whole allegory of the crucifixion of Christ in the Bible is brought to reality in the crucifixion of Christ in Jamaica. In one of those programs, we spoke about the Coral Gardens massacre. We also speak about the event that is so more often forgotten in 1958 at Bakawal, where Rastaman was brutalized. Rastaman in general represent the Christ. So as I said, you need to check these documentaries. But one of the aspects of the story is that the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards was what they did with him after taking him from St. Catherine's prison. All of this you hear about reason and culture, this on the altar. They say they hang him on the Tuesday. And because according to custom, you're not, if you hang a man and he doesn't die, you're supposed to let him go. And then that was not done. So he was crucified the Wednesday. Now, outside of the theory of it, a lot of one will say, okay, well, listen, what are you trying to tell me? They hung a man and he didn't die. Anything can go. So now I want to show you something. And let me just put in mind now, remember the other night on the Shock of the Hour again, we were talking about the whole Maria Levier from the United States, the Southern United States, who they said now there were 2 people that they were accused of murder. And it said that she would visit them in the prison regularly. And when they were sentenced to be hung, the hanging took place, but they said that the weather just changed, and lightning and thunder and all these things came in. And when they hung the brethren there, the noose just slipped off, and they said they never had a hanging in that town again. We covered that in the Shock of the Hour. So I'm telling you, if it's one thing I check for, it's the mystics. And the mystics is something that is very important. Now, let me just show you something here. This is from a Shaolin Temple documentary, The Myths and Logic of the Shaolin Kung Fu. And in this documentary here now, what they're going to show you, they're going to show you those who are learning the art of Kung Fu from Shaolin, showing you how they literally, what you would say, hang themselves without any sort of problem whatsoever. And you say, what do you mean? Nobody can hang themselves and don't die. Well, this is what we're going to show you right now. Young brethren, you know, man, children as such, who are trained in the art. At first, when they started it, it would have taken them a little while to get accustomed to it. But right now, I mean, it's just a part of their whole forte. Check this out. Pardon me there, pardon. Okay, wait, don't worry. Yes, all right. Now watch this. This is very key. Now this is an exercise that they're doing. They're just balancing on their head. That's just one aspect of it. But now they're going to show you how they actually conduct themselves. Look at this here. So they have the noose. These are cloth. And they go and they adjust themselves and they put the cloth, the noose, basically, around their neck. And of course, you see they go into the lotus position. Now, what I'm saying, obviously, when you are a beginner in this, you could only do this maybe for a few seconds. In fact, I'm sure there are some people that can't do this at all. Most people can't do this at all. But then now in general, you can maybe conduct this exercise for a few seconds. Then after you keep on doing this every day, you know, you become adjusted to it. And then you could do it for a few minutes. And then maybe you could hang there for hours. There are those that can hang there for hours in the lotus position. It's all about meditation. It's about concentration. It's about a lot of vibes, you know, practice, you know, knowing the art. It's the martial arts we're dealing with here. So now I'm showing to you the concept of someone being hung and not dying is not an impossible concept. We're dealing in it. When you talk about Haile Selassie, my brothers and sisters, when you talk about Marcus Garvey, when people slapping you across the face and then the hand stick and never move again. The amount of story you hear about the king, I mean, sometimes the one there, if people make them up. How they say the king passed through airport and nobody see the dog, and then the dog appeared, people say the dog was in his pocket. All kind of things. I mean, me personally, I don't have to add nothing to the king to make the king who he is, Chop the apple into 13 pieces and one piece of the apple stick on the sword and the 12 fall on the ground. You know, is that a verified fact? But the point is that with me personally, you don't have to add nothing to the emperor, Negus and the gas. In fact, doing that to me is you're spoiling the pot. You don't have to add nothing to Marcus Messiah Garvey, the science god, the African science man. You don't have to add nothing to the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. You understand? Who they refer to as a Obeah man. Obeah. So I'm showing you now that the hanging technique is a real thing. And the reason why I mentioned the Trinity is because we're dealing with individuals who are highly trained spiritually and physically within the art and the discipline of different art forms, whether it's psychological art forms, mental art forms, or physical art forms. So whether you have proof or not, this is why you hear man talking about Jah walking through 8-inch thick walls. This is why you hear man saying Haile Selassie appear at some secret meeting that heads of states were having and all of these kind of things, whether it be, I mean, so or not, you know. They have factual things that we could also attest to as it relates to the Black Christ, King Emmanuel, Marcus Garvey, and Emperor Haile Selassie I. These are mystic beings. I mean, outside of them, history is filled with this King Jaja in Zombie from in Brazil, and these ones that are known to have disappeared and appeared, and you tie them up and they knock you tricks that outrank Houdini by eons. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They drop a bomb. Remember, this is why I'm telling you to visit these documentaries. Huh? They drop a bomb in Bobo Shanti Hill Yard. And when Priest Headley carried the bomb to King Emmanuel, Jack tell him, I already disarm it. You may feel it's a joke. When the brethren them carry the bomb to the police station afterwards, the police them run out of the station so you could see who you're dealing with. So to tell me when they were brutalizing Rastaman in 1963, Coral Gardens, when they were brutalizing Rastaman after King Emmanuel had the first Nyabingi, when they threw him in the hearse and sent him to the morgue, and he sit up, and they say when they open it, he was, according to Priest Evelyn in the ambulance, he was sweating, and it was sweat and blood that they saw. Rex Nettleford, the historian, attests to that. So I mean, this ain't no make-believe or no Rastaman concept. This is history. King Emmanuel, this man never trouble no man. And if you trouble this man, it will bring a bam bam. What a bam. It is King Emmanuel who that song was written from. Ask any of the elders. So I'm trying to show you this is a real thing. So to say that they hanged the man during the brutalization, hoping to kill him, that for sure ain't nothing hard to believe. And to say they hung him, and according to the law, because according to the law, for real, that's why I brought up the case in Louisiana with the Voodoo Queen, who they said assisted the brethren them in the case, in the trial. They were accused of murdering people, and maybe they were innocent, and she went and checked for them, and on the day that they were supposed to get hung, they did attempt to hang them, or they hung them, but they didn't die, whichever way you want to term it. Lightning and thunder and all sorts of things came true. But in that case, the noose slipped off of their necks, and they never had a hanging, according to that report that we read it on the Shock of the Hour. They never had a hanging again like that, or a hanging again in that area. And that is to show again that it is a reality that when you hang a man and he don't die, you're supposed to let him go. God, it's like some sort of supernatural thing. I don't know if that's the reason why they brought in such a law. But I'm trying to show you this is what Bobo Shanti culture as it relates to King Emmanuel. And this is why we are here, to make what sounds spooky and maybe a fairy tale, to bring it into reality. And again, that's why I would point you to documentaries that are there, or episodes that are there on the YouTube that will fill you up properly. And that is why, again, I would encourage you to subscribe to the Shock of the Hour nightly program. Every night we're doing the Shock of the Hour program. You know, and of course, during the time of Lent, we obviously will be addressing, you know, that whole science of what's taking place. And although this program is much longer than I expected, for sure, I know the point is made and has been made. And just to reinforce the point again, so it is the Tuesday they say they hang the man. You know, no spookism and real vibes. You know what the Coral Garden massacre was about? You understand what happened in 1958 after the 21 days of Nyabingi? You understand the brutality given to Rastaman in Jamaica? So hanging a Rastaman ain't nothing, that ain't like hard to believe. And then the man that we talking about ain't no simple man. We have stories upon stories upon stories about that Black Christ there, Prince Emmanuel Charles Edwards. So to say you hang him, if them 4 little boys here, let me just put in the lingua of where I live. If them 4 picking here, can hang on this without choking themselves? What about the master himself, the Black Christ, King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, as it relates to this? And the emperor can do this too. What are you talking about? The emperor can do that too. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. So I ain't telling you have to believe no story, eh? But I'm just showing you the reality of it is extremely possible. Yeah, so as I said, you could definitely email me, man. PrinceIsaac27@gmail.com, and I give you all the information on how to become a monthly subscriber or a 6-month subscriber, which obviously you would save more on a 6-month subscription or a yearly subscription, which obviously much more will be saved as well. You know, definitely give thanks. Remember, the spring equinox is still there. The spring equinox, definitely, you still have time to contact us. You still have time to contact us. It's from the 18th to when? To the 20th, no, to when? To the 22nd day of March. Double hike to Green Castle Hill. What are you talking about? You're gonna miss that morning sunrise hiking, yoga, Nyabingi, and so many things we have planned for you. And then at the same time, you know what I mean, it's more than that, eh? Rastafari Experience is Rastafari Experience Island Tour, the marijuana educational tour, because remember in Antigua, you don't know how it is here amongst the Rastafari community as it relates to marijuana, immune from any sort of persecution or prosecution right now. So you'll definitely be able to see that being taking place in its glory. And of course, you know, the beach, the lecture, we'll be doing the prize giving ceremony for the essay competition. I'm so thankful for all who have already booked with us. And for those who have not booked, now is your chance. Contact me, email me, priestisaac27@gmail.com. Go on our YouTube, not our YouTube, well, go on our YouTube. You're done there, that's what you're watching here. But go on our Facebook page, which is not Priest Isaac now, Rastafari Experience Antigua, which is our hike and tour group that does the exclusive tours to Green Castle Hill and the Rastafari Experience history and culture in this land here, known as Wadadli, Antigua. And go on our Facebook page, Rastafari Experience Antigua, and get more information for sure as it relates to the spring equinox. So by the 17th, gentlemen, by the 17th day of March, you're supposed to be here in Antigua. And of course, you know, from the 18th, the morning of the 18th, we're gone. You know, we just start to experience, basically. Remember your sunrise, sunset hike, Green Castle Hill. Contact me, man, if you need more information. As I said, visit the page, the itineraries there. Hey, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. And of course, you know, it takes a realize to realize the realize that are amongst us. King Selassie, Jah Rastafari, heart of man, bless the Lord.